used to be resident or now she's not. Go ahead.
Well, I get on Facebook maybe once a month, if even now.
I'm like. Once every 2 years.
I don't,
Okay, so, today's October 10th, 2024. We're gonna call to order the, work meeting of Virgin Town Council. And, I was going to say something that Crystal says Jesus the meeting, so I won't say it. All right. Before we get started, April, I want to ask you what happened at the pre-construction meeting that we went to on Monday.
So I attended the meeting and I got to set up plans. And it turns out that they've already put the road closures up. And they intend to have it paid by Thanksgiving, okay? And they are, it's all county money, okay? There's no federal money involved for this section. They're going to pay from SR 9 to the bridge. That section.
Okay,
It'll be the cross section, is the roadway section is 2 14-foot lanes, 2 2-foot shoulders. And then they'll have a little ditch and that's it. And then they're going to do a little bit of work in the existing ditch that wash there, only where it's on the easement property. There's a 100-foot wide easement. And so they're gonna put 2 feet of riprap in that little section of the ditch
and so what we're talking about right now is just between SR 9 and the bridge.
and the bridge.
Okay.
So I was in there and I had the, plan for the master transportation plan, which shows it, which we know Sheep Ridge Road is a cluster, according to UDOT, or will be. And it shows the bike paths and 11-foot travel lanes and pedestrian walkways, and I asked them why they didn't do it as a master transportation plan suggested. Okay, and they said because it's county money. Oh. And it's not, federal money, and they said when they pay the remaining part of Sheep Ridge Road, they're intending to do that next year, they have $380 million. And that they would put, they suggested that they put a tarp strip and maybe a lifeline.
So they're claiming that next year, when they do the rest of Sheep Ridge Road, they're gonna do some sort of stuff along the sides of, and then they'll do it from highway to highway. So then they'll get that from the bridge to.
That's what it sounded like.
Okay,
And the speed limit, I asked them about the speed limit because I know that people drive on that gravel road 40, 50 miles an hour. And they just said they're going to post it at 25 miles an hour.
so I was wondering, because somebody got a letter saying that the road was going to be closed, and they want to know why the town hadn't notified them, and I was like, that's probably it, yeah.
This is the letter, I think it went around, they had delivered it, to all the residents.
Oh, is that what
They
they
did,
said? Okay.
as far as I know, and they're going to close the road.
So is it really closing it instead of just working on like one lane and letting one lane?
They
work?
said they were gonna close the road, and they were going to open it on the weekends.
Okay.
And they did look at some of the events, mainly Frog Hollow.
Okay.
They said they'd open it for Frog Hollow, but, and they would allow people that live along, Sheep Ridge Road that have the rear exits, the driveways, to be able to come in and out if they needed to. There's not a lot of traffic from there, but there is some.
Okay.
And then they also indicated, I asked them, because typically when you pave a road next to driveways, you pave into those driveways so that you don't get a lot of rocks and stuff, like on the roadway. And so I asked them, because they didn't show it on the plans, I asked them if they'd be willing to do that, because it's kind of typical. And they said that they would, so they would probably put a little 5-foot paving strip into those driveways on the back.
See, I'm so glad I sent you to go there instead of me. I said, I had that calendar conflict and I said, April, you're the perfect person for this.
So I'm hoping, I think probably what we may want to do is once they get it paved, we may want to ask the sheriff's department to watch the speed limit, because if people realize that they're going to, you know, give tickets if they're above the 25 miles an hour, then it might help them realize that they're serious about that speed limit and keep the speed down.
So
There's a lot of people on that road that walk and ride bikes, and you don't want them driving, you know, 50, 60, who knows how fast they're gonna go.
So if they're gonna finish this by Thanksgiving, did they say when they're, in this meeting, did they discuss at all when they're gonna start on the rest of the road?
So it sounded, they didn't really talk about that project. I did ask them and it sounded like they were doing that next year.
All right, okay, good, so I might ask you, depending on, so there's no one here tonight. But of course, who knows how many are watching online, but I might ask you to do a summary report on Tuesdays, because we may have more people here.
You know, Darlene, I talked to her a little bit about it. She was concerned about the people that come from, you know, Apple Valley and work hard.
Yeah.
They close the road, how are they going to access it? Actually, there's an on-site meeting on Monday at 10:30. On-site, if anybody, they welcome anybody from Virgin that would like to attend.
Okay,
So
so
we might ask them and kind of see.
they are starting on Monday, even though it's a holiday, they're starting Monday. Monday's Columbus,
Well,
not everybody's.
So they're having the on-site meeting, I don't know, because I think they've started to, bring some of their equipment in, and
Cause I haven't seen any signs, when you, cause you said they had signs up already.
they just put one up,
Okay,
as I was driving into the meeting. I
okay,
saw
so
a
that's
sign.
okay, I came
It
here.
was just at Sheep Ridge Road, you know, they put that road close sign, so I don't know what they're doing on the other end, if it's all the way, you know, on the other end, or if it's just at the bridge, but I just can't imagine them not allowing people that are working in the park, or
To come across that road,
Make them go along with.
they might make them a
the long way around. Okay, cause I was like, I came up this road at 2 o'clock and I did not see a road closed sign, so, alright.
So the question is, does Crystal want to send a message off to the clerk of Apple Valley and say, heads up? We
About
don't,
this.
we don't know if this affects you, if they're gonna close it on you as you get in, but you might wanna find out and let your residents know. Just as a courtesy from clerk to clerk and city to city.
That's good.
Sector. I have a copy of.
What did they say on the letter? Did they say?
So the letter just says that this letter is to notify you that Interstate Rock Products will be working in your area. We will be grading and paving asphalt from SR9 in front of Sheep Ridge. Road will close from 10:14 to 12:13.
I'll send that over to her. I have a copy of that.
And it's got, they could maybe call them.
Yeah, it has their number. I have a copy of that. A resident actually sent me a copy of that, so.
Otherwise, there may be some late employees when they have to backtrack.
Exactly, and they get all
And
these.
Gooseberry's a mess, right? That Gooseberry Road that comes down and stuff.
Yeah, but-
Valley, it's a mess, isn't it?
That one's a
Use
little
it.
harder, you gotta have the right vehicle.
Cause on this side, it gets really bad. So I didn't know if they'd ever fix that.
I don't know.
I haven't been on it in a very long time.
I haven't been on it since 2008, 9.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on it as well.
Okay, then the first item that I had on the actual agenda was to talk about the quarterly amendment to the budget. And I put on the town website, on the SharePoint, I put the ordinance, the resolution. And then I put a little spreadsheet that I did that Becky and I went over to say these are the ones that we're going to change. And then I also put on there this financial statement that I got from the CPA going through September 30th. And if any of you looked at it, you will see that there were other GL account numbers that were over the quarterly percentage, let's put it that way. And Becky and I went through them and we decided that we were not going to recommend changing all of these accounts, only these ones in this spreadsheet that I attached as the attachment to the resolution, and we're going to look at these others when we come up to December to do the next quarterly, to see. Because some of these, even though there's a big expense, it shows that, for example, one has had 47% even though we're 3 months into the year, but we may not have any more even expense, but for several months. So we're gonna wait and see on some of those. All right, so what I wanted to talk about is, the ones that we are proposing to change and that are in this spreadsheet. I did write information down. For example, the very first one, I have here on the spreadsheet that the town attorney, this is increasing the amount of money for the town attorney, and we had put this, current funding amount, we had budgeted that much for this fiscal year for 24-25, and then, discovered that the town attorney has not billed since February. So we've got March, April, May, and June that we have not received budgets, bills for. And I called and talked to the accountant, and we have to, when we pay for those, they have to go in this fiscal year. We cannot go back and amend last year's budget to put those in there. It has to go in this month. And they haven't billed since February, so there's actually 7 months, 7 to 8 months they haven't billed, because their software kind of imploded. And they've been unable to do any billing at all of any sort, yeah. And so they're about to get it back up and running. The software company's been working. And they're about to be ready, but what they're gonna do is they're gonna bill us 2-month bills at a time to get them caught up.
Going back to, now that kind of makes sense of what you're doing, how much leftover amount did we have from last year?
I do not know. I would have to go back.
Because I don't wanna approve 50,000. I mean, that's kind of like you pull the figure out every year, just put it
Well,
out there.
the thing
so-
is, what he told me is that March and April, things had really heated up with,
Litigation.
yes, with litigation expenses, and all he said is, you need to be prepared when you get this bill. And I'm like, okay, well, I know what some of our bills have been in the past, so I just, I did come up with this number out of thin air. But I was like, cause at first we talked about maybe 30,000, and I said, I don't think 30,000 is gonna cover March, April, May, and June, when we had litigation going on.
This
I
is
just
just to
don't think-
30,000, whenever we have litigation, it's close to 30,000 a month.
That's why I'm at 50, because we may have to increase this again before we do December's. So if you wanna cut it down to 30, we can cut it down to 30,
No, I was just
but I
looking for the
really think-
logical reason of why we're at 50. Because we can always amend the budget again.
That's what I just said, if you want to make it 30, we can make it 30, but what I guarantee we'll be up in the.
Yeah, I know, I figured we would be. I'd be curious because this was supposed to come out of last year's
Yes.
budget. So how much
I do not know.
was left over? That's the amount I would attach here until we start to get the bills, just for a logical reason. To say, hey, we didn't get bills for last year, then this is what's left over. Let's attach this until we get the bills.
Let me see if I have anything in here, because here's where we
We're up at your last, accounting for last
Yeah.
year.
what?
So would it show up on your, like, basically your last budget for last year?
Well, that's what I was just saying, I brought with me
We probably
the
have
June,
it on our-
everything for the June meeting where we passed the budget. So I will see what we have. I might very well have the answer.
That would be June, right?
June, yeah. So I'm going to now regular meeting. Oh, budget copy here. And then the 23-24 budget. What's and
Is that a Word document or a PDF?
PDF?
Okay.
What's their?
It's $10,000. It's actually slightly less than 10,000.
So we would have been.
I have right here the budget worksheet, our final budget worksheet. And we have that the budget for fiscal year ending in 24 was 95,000. And at that point, Our actual expenses were at 85. So we were only, it was 85.7, so we were actually 9,300 away from having. Short of the budget, and then this next year we put in 100,000.
So had you been billing us, we would have been over budget.
Correct, we would have been over budget and had to adjust. When we did the final budget, we would have had to put.
Okay.
But I have this right here.
No, that's fine, I just wanted to get an idea of where we were, because I have us. We did them in the budget, so. Yeah, 85, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and we had budgeted 95, and it was 85.7, so we were really 9,300
Okay,
short. And if we still have 4 months to go,
okay, and I had some litigation going on, okay, I'm sold.
okay, all right, so then the next. The next line, I'm increasing, conference travel by 2,000, we budgeted 8. And, where we are now on conference and travel. At 53%, almost 54% of, that. We only have 3,684 left of the 8,000 that we budgeted. And, when people have asked me if they can go and have training, I'm letting them go. And so we've got code enforcement officers asking for some training, we've had, public works that I've sent for training, I've had, Shiloh's gonna go for some training on permit clerk. And so, I would like to, at this point, just increase the training budget by 2,000.
Because the reason for expenses is not exactly accurate, it should also include town employees.
It should include what?
Town employees.
It just said town council.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I can only
It
count.
just needs to have slash staff, and staff.
Okay,
yeah. And staff,
okay, well, I,
Then it covers a broad.
because it's more important to get staff trained up than.
yes, it's that, it's, yes, and this is really about staff training.
And I think the public would understand paying staff to go somewhere to get trained versus.
Yeah, I've sent Randy has been for emergency manager, he's been to 2 or 3 things
Yeah,
already. And then, the code enforcement officer and I were talking the other day about some training that he would like to do, and he sent me the.
so we got a code enforcement officer now, so we hired him.
Yes, the person we talked about, David and I talked about, yeah.
I
So,
didn't know he,
yes, he
That-
started 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
what's his
He's
name?
on his 3rd week. He's on his 3rd week, this is week 3,
What's his name?
Matt Johnson.
You know what I would suggest, because we've got. Charlotte's been here, but we've had these new hires, and if you bring them to a meeting and introduce them during the beginning, parts of the public out there can see who they are and attach the name to them.
Okay, that's a good.
That'd be my suggestion.
All right,
Yeah, because I noticed last month the budget or the expenditure for meetings, for travel meetings was pretty high. And so I was wondering if, I know that there was a conference in Salt Lake, but I don't think very many people went to that. And then I was assuming they're public works people.
no, Randy, we were all laughing one day that apparently September is conference month.
Yeah.
It's conference month, and so everybody, it was just conference after training after training
September
after
and
training. So those were the 2 conference months. And that's why so much has happened. And there may not be that much between now and April
Mhm.
of next year. But I still wanted to increase the budget to allow for it, since we've got new employees that since then, and they want to go to some training.
Well, we'll have to attend, don't we have that annual training that we have to go to every year?
The one that's, the one that's.
It's in January,
The open public. Yes, but that is not included in this.
yeah.
The open public meetings act training, the town, the town.
We do it in Springfield, Rockville.
They just trade off and on who does it, who pays
Oh,
for it.
it's not very much.
Well, we split it between the 3 towns.
Right, one who puts it on and the other one.
And it's only a few $100.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
much. Okay, all right,
We've actually all started splitting it.
so is 2,000 okay, everybody?
Yeah.
2,000
Yeah.
okay, to fix that, okay. So the next one was, equipment office, and this has to do with getting computers. And, where are we now on that? Let's see. 1044, 250. This one is a hair under 50% on the, budget sheet, I mean, on the financial statement from the CPA. It shows we're a hair under 50% of how much we budgeted, but at the time we did the budget, there were people we weren't gonna hire that we did not know we were gonna hire, such as the person who does the website, the tech specialist that we hired, and the code, we did plan for code enforcement officer, but I have not put in the budget to buy a computer. And, so we have had additional computers that we have bought, and that's what this is for, computers, and I want to get 2 tablets for Public Works to use when they're out in the field, where they can keep track of, what they're doing, take pictures of everything, there's a whole software I would like to have for Public Works. And if they've got it on the, tablet, they can, update things and show, I did this, and it updates it right then and there on that.
So
Now, we
we
have
have,
a
we have to have cellular service then on that.
Yeah, they'll have text.
That works.
All those. In fact, one of the things too is I need to get, and this will be on the next one, well, no, this would be a different telephone. The code enforcement officers asked for his own, had a town phone, and he has been to some training where they've all said, you do not want to use your personal phone because you are subject to grammar, blah, 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 for what he does. And so, I'm gonna have to get him a town phone.
I think Public Works should have, do they have a town?
Public Works has a town phone.
So the
But
internet
code
can
enforcement.
hotspot, by the way, the internet can hotspot with those, so the tablets don't have to have the internet.
Okay, but in any event, I have to get the code enforcement officer phone.
Yeah, critical for.
Yeah,
100%.
so I just wanted to know, and.
So I've got a question, was, Bronwyn leaving and Marcy leaving, did the town buy them computers?
We did not buy one for Bronwyn, she had her own, we
Okay.
do need Marcy's back.
So then would you probably hold on to that for the next town council? then?
Yes,
Because they're brand new, they're like.
yeah, they're brand new, and so it'll go to the new,
Okay.
the new person,
So
but,
we wouldn't
so
have to pay another-
this is not included, this is not considering some new, computer for another town council. We've got now the new planning commission person. Whoever we appoint for that, more than likely will need a new computer, a new laptop, because we were buying each person a laptop, and, Bronwyn just wanted to use her own, so we never bought one for her. Okay. So anyway, I put down 3,000 now, for now, that will only buy a couple of laptops, and, it won't buy much, but it's something. So I wanted to increase that by 3. And then the next thing, the telephone. This is the phone system in the town hall. We had budgeted $1,750, and that was based on a different phone system. And we've upgraded the phone system, and our monthly payment is approximately $200, where before it was like $75. And, so at $200 a month, $1,750 is not gonna cover it, it needs to be $2,400. So I just want to increase this by $750 to bring this up to $2,500. On the phone. Otherwise, if we don't increase the budget for that, then at the end of the year, we will be over budget on the phone system for the town hall.
Does this give you more rolling lines and so that you can more phones?
No, right now, this is just the bill for what we presently have. And, if we wanted to add like another phone that sits at someone's desk that they would get a call on, that's a different fee.
Cause how many extensions do we have right now that comes?
7?
Well, we have one extra phone that's not being used in case we needed that. 'cause we
Okay,
have that.
but like
One
actually, how
extra
many
extension.
extensions do we have right now? Is it 107, 107, 108? Do we have 8?
No, we have-
I'm trying to think if I look at
Right
one
now.
phone, how
I'm
many
just thinking
things
what's
I
in the
see.
building if you're gonna need more.
Oh, well, when we get in the building, that'll be different. That'll be a different
Or
story.
you have to increase it again, because.
Well, by the time we get in the building, we're probably gonna be at the end of the fiscal year, and we're doing the
Right.
fiscal year.
So we have 7.
So, okay, that's what I thought. I thought we had 7 lines now.
So we have 7, but 107 is not.
It's not being used, so we have one extra line available. But in any event, that doesn't change the fact that the monthly payment is $200 and we need 2,400 to pay that, and we only budgeted 1,750.
So it's 8 lines, we're using 7,
No, there are 7
Seven
lines.
lines.
and we're using
Yeah.
6.
The 7th line is just an extra line that's just.
We went ahead and told them, give us an extra line and an extra phone, and then we need it now. Because in fact, right now, the code enforcement officer and our technology specialists are sharing that room upstairs that had been my office initially. And they're both in there, and there's one line, and we've sent phone calls in there for the code enforcement officer, and the phone's on the other side of the room, he has to get up and go over to the other side of the room to answer the phone. And so, anyway, we might put that other phone that's not being used up there, but one of them each a phone on their desk.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so next, the Hafen Buckner's, the auditor, their bill was $12,000 and we had budgeted 7.
Why such a big increase, just?
I have no idea. All I know is when you look here at the audit, we have paid them and written them a check of $12,000 and we are $5,000 over budget right now, just by looking at this. And, I do not know, I did not go back and look at July or August expenses to see why their bill was $12,000 as opposed to the 7. Because some of these, we were just looking at what we spent the year before.
Right.
And yeah, and that's,
That's a
yeah,
big increase, I'm
Yes.
wondering if they changed their service, looking at something in addition that they normally don't.
yeah, I really don't know what this was about. And that's why I said, I just wrote higher than expected, didn't give a reason, because I did not know.
What, so you were with the auditors, do you know?
It could be that the auditor, well. We did just pay this audit too, is that including this audit that we just paid for 2024?
I'm assuming that's what this is.
Okay, we did just pay the new audit.
Yes, we got the audit report and, but I do not know that the 12,000, the check would have been written in July or August. Only we just got the report, and I'm assuming that
Yeah,
this $12,000 bill is their services for doing that 24.
they wanted to know that's for the new ones, so they want I believe that's for the new audit that's coming, that we're getting right now.
That they want to be prepaid something.
Yes,
Okay,
they have to prepay the audit before they start the audit, so that's the new audit that we're currently in.
because we've asked them, they have started the new audit for 24. They started that, they usually wait until like January to start the audit for the fiscal year that ended in June, and they usually start like December or January on the audit. We asked them to go ahead and do it right now,
So
and
that
they are
makes
working on it right now.
Yeah.
That could explain.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we signed the papers, you remember signing
Yeah,
that paper?
yeah.
Yeah, and they billed us for it already, so
Okay.
we're already starting it.
So it's the current year,
I
this,
believe that's what that extra amount is and why we're
That's
over,
interesting.
because they've already charged us for
okay,
portion of
next year.
that 2024 audit that.
All right, okay. So, anyway, so Crystal just spent today scanning oodles and oodles of documents that they wanted for this audit that they've just started. So their goal is to have our audit for, the fiscal year ending June 24. Their goal is to have that before Christmas. And so, because we told them, please get on it, don't wait till like you did last time, let's get it right now. So their goal is to have it done before Christmas. Cause Candace said, Merry Christmas, I'm gonna wrap it up in a bow and say Merry Christmas. Okay, I'm gonna
Pretty
skip,
close,
what?
pretty close, actually, we're pretty excited.
Yeah, so, I'm going to skip this next one that I have about maintenance streets and roads and come back to it. I want to do these others because they're not very big. The monthly utility expenses, we put $3,000 because that's what we had last year. This is utilities for the old church where we are right now. And if we look this up, 1067, 300.
We've been using it more frequently.
I think that's what's going on, because we've got the homeschoolers that use
Well,
it.
and we all, the planning and zoning is now having two
And
meetings.
we're
We're
having
two
more meetings, yes.
And actually more than two, and then not the DRC, the community development.
Yes, okay, so
you know.
it's being used more, so right now, we're already at 40%, and the year's only a quarter done. And we're at 40%, so we budgeted 3,000, and, the way it's going is like, whoa, okay, we better increase the budget, because I don't expect this to go down at all.
It's been hard this year.
It's been hotter this year, that's true,
Longer,
air
usually we would.
conditioner's been pumping away, and, so we need to increase the budget this for the old church. And so I put 1750, I was estimating, I balanced out what has been spent so far for the past 3 months an average, and then said, okay, if we continued on that same trajectory, we have to have another 1,750 for that. And this last one, on the second page here, equipment supplies for the water. I have underestimated costs in this category, and there have been,
Right.
yes. And so we've been buying equipment, not equipment, but supplies, and going down to Schultz's and buying stuff, and fixing the leaks, and there's been some significant ones. And so this, came to, let's see where we are on this. I think I'm not sure, we may already be over budget on that.
Well, just the two that I can think of, would have won that $2,000 out of the water.
Yeah, in fact, I looked at, it, said, why did we put 2,000, was that supposed to be 20? You know, I was like, why, where would we ever have put $2,000 in the budget for
We still-
supply or equipment for the water department? And especially given the equipment that, we're going to be coming up before too long and asking the town council to approve a purchase for, is even gonna take this, is not even gonna be enough for that. But let's see where we are, 50, 42, 60. Yes. We budgeted 2,000 and we have spent to date $5,482. So this is to bring it up to date, because it shows we have spent 274% of the budget.
So should we increase that even more than
We
this?
probably should, but I thought
We're just starting into winter.
and we're having more water leaks. is what you're thinking. So,
Their pipes are definitely old.
it may need to be more than that.
You'll have leaks up when you're coming.
And if it's
Well,
May,
they
we have
fixed
space.
2 leaks on Friday the 4th. He
Yes.
fixed one in the morning, went home to go shower, and I called him and I said, get back, you got another one, and he goes, you gotta be kidding me.
And this, like, one of them had a sinkhole.
Yeah, it was just beautiful.
It was huge. And then when we got to, that was on Friday, and then Monday, he was still working on it. It was, so, yeah,
Do we need to?
maybe we might even need to do more. But I was just trying to bring us up to date, have a little wiggle room for now. But maybe we'll probably be increasing it in December. What?
When are you posting for that? Because we probably should decide either tonight if we need to double that.
Oh,
Or at least add 2,000 more to it.
Yeah,
to make it, to make the final budget amount be 9, is that what you're thinking, okay?
Because then it gives a little bit of leeway and it's the amount of our,
and then in December,
Original
we'll fix the
funding,
rest
yeah.
of it.
and then pray to the deity that we don't have any water.
Yes. Well, I will tell you right now, this piece of equipment he wants to buy, and I cannot remember what it's called, but the people came and gave us a demo on this equipment. And, it's like a super powerful, when you have power wash, when you have the power wash that you use, and you know that the water, you have to really stay back away when you're using a power washer, because it can injure you. This is even more powerful than that, and so I videotaped the demo. And we went to a place down here, right down here on the corner where we know there's this water meter that, needs to be replaced. And we said, okay, we had a water leak and we were digging up this meter. The normal way you would do it is get the, backhoe, you come down here, you dig it all up, put all the dirt over here, get down there, fix this thing, get the dirt, put it back. This machine, whatever it's called, is filled with water, and it's got this, storage, piece of storage on it. And so you get over there and you use this high power washer, and it took 5 minutes, and it had dug down probably 7 feet. And that water meter was completely exposed. It was 5 minutes. And so meanwhile, attached, so here's the thing with the water that is using all this water to about blast out all this dirt around the water meter. And then there is a hose that, sucks up all the water and the dirt, and it goes into this thing that separates the water and the dirt. And when you're all done, you just open up this machine and you scoop out the dirt, and it made no mess, no nothing.
And it saved.
It was like $7,500. And it was, so what the goal was, what Nick wanted to do is, he said, instead of buying a new backhoe, let's fix that backhoe and take the money you would have used to buy a new backhoe and buy this thing.
Yeah, I'm just,
And so I think it was $7,500.
Do we know
so,
any utilities or any businesses that use that particular model that we could call and ask?
Oh, yeah, the guy who came said, he just sold like 2 of them to Washington, to Hurricane. And they're selling like hotcakes apparently. So what would happen if there was a road?
yeah, my thought is since that's gonna be a capital improvement, we can do it 2 ways. Run it to the capital improvement program, or if you buy it, we just amend our capital improvement plan.
Yeah, and so we were gonna do a presentation to the town, but, that wasn't for this. This wasn't for this budget,
So, yeah,
but we would like to get
if
that.
we end up buying it before we do the capital improvements committee,
Uh-huh.
just make sure when we do the plan, we add it, and so it goes into our inventory,
Of
and we
product.
have it as a first year purchase, even though it didn't run through the,
She can ratify it.
Okay, so, then, so we increase this needs to go to 169, not 167. So that leaves, so we'll come back with the thing for the approval for the buying that piece of equipment, we'll do that at a different meeting. But so this brings us back to this next to last line on the first page here, maintenance streets and roads, where we underestimated the cost of the road and stormwater repairs needed at 165 Fourth. That is where this cost overrun has all come from, right there. And, we got, you know how we awarded the project? Ron Mills came at the work meeting last time and talked to you guys while I was gone about these, all the road projects that we wanted to do. And so we've awarded it and, told the contractor that got the bid to get started. And I was going through the bid paperwork, and I saw that they had it all broken down by all the projects that we wanted to do. Yet the bid for doing the work on 165 North was at $80,000 more than we had put in as an estimate for that work.
It's called a back excavator trailer.
Vac excavator trailer, thank you.
He says it's around $130,000,
That's not the one, well, they have different ones.
but he says he's getting bids together. Cause they have other ones that,
Yeah, they were all different.
but it's called a vac excavator.
I don't believe it. I swear it was not, we were not told 130,000.
That sounds more like it.
But to you, the 7,500 sounds way too low. Okay. So, well, we'll find out whenever, he gets the bids. Okay, so anyway, we had in the budget, we had put $92,000 to do all of the road repairs in town. And I have this was a spreadsheet that we had when we did the budget. I brought all the paperwork from when we did the budget, because I know the spreadsheet is in here, that I can show you, because we all had a copy of it. Here it is.
I'm going back to the,
This is the spreadsheet that we had when we did the budget. And this was the total that we put in the budget for doing road, water, and parks. So here it is. This was all the estimates, and we came up with this much money that we put for doing roads, water, and parks improvements this fiscal year. And the road repair, so it was a total of $291,500 that we put in the budget for doing all these capital improvement projects. We put, the estimate in this spreadsheet was $15,000 to do the work on 165 North. The winning bid was like $90,000. And we're going, oh my gosh, how did such an underestimate happen? And so I have gone in here and asked, instead of going up to 85, increasing them out to 85, I put 100, just because I suspect that, it's gonna be more.
so, I mean, that raises the question is, do we do that project this year or not?
No, I would say yes, and the reason I say yes is because when the capital improvement committee went around and we did our tour, we said that was that was number one on the list. That, do you remember that, the one at 165 North? We all agreed when we went back and rated and used the schedule that April had set up on rating things, it came out number one in the whole town. And that's why I want to get started on that one.
And I assume it's, the stormwater repairs are the critical portion of that.
Probably, yes, because it's weird the way that.
I'm trying to remember
road is.
from my recollection what it's like.
Well, what we had, well, also one of the other things that's included in this, even though we're saying 165 North, they're also going to include, fixing that, drain up there by Bob and Carol Park's house on Parkville Road. That's gonna be included in this, okay? But when you go down and there's that, short-term rental, and there's a pipe that comes under, beside that house, and it goes under the road and comes out and dumps into that wash.
Right,
And then there's a pipe that comes this way
yeah,
and dumps into the wash. And then there's a pipe over here along the road that's gotten exposed as the road has fallen apart. And so there's this whole thing, of 3 different ways of water all coming together right there into that wash. And then they need to repave the road with it all.
yeah, that's,
It's how much we pay. I would have to look at their.
Plan, or they have a bid list?
Yeah, they have all that. I just looked at the total. And, I wanted to make sure that they had broken down everything by project, and so I saw what their total was. Cause I did ask Ron, how much of this is water related, and could we use water impact fees for this? And we said no, it's just gonna have to come straight out of the general, that's come straight out of the general fund.
So the other person that bid was that Interstate Rock.
Yes, they
Did you
were
take a
waiting.
look?
I think they
Did you
did.
take a look at that specific item though, to see if it was closed?
I did not look, and all I did was we told Ron to award the bid, And he awarded the bid, and then I took the winning bid person, and I said, let me see what you did, and I went, oh my gosh, we've underestimated this project.
I just think it'd be interesting to see how the other company did that.
Which we could, we could, except, we can compare, but we've already awarded the.
No, I
bid.
know, I just would be
Yeah.
curious to see.
How did we underestimate it? Did we have give us a reason?
He did not, because that's where the underestimation came from.
So then the other question is, because that's from the capital improvement standpoint, we did all these improvements for this year, do any of those on our list need to be moved to another year? The back end of the list moved to the second year, but not this year
I don't-
because of the,
I don't think so, because this spreadsheet that I had where we budgeted all of this, some was roads, some was parks. The only thing that is out of whack is 165 north. Everything else was very close within what was budgeted, what was expected. It's just this project at 165 north and then doing that, that we're gonna add that thing for Bob and Carol Clark by their house and do those two together. And this is all, everything else is fine, it's just that. Okay, so what I did, so I showed you the total amount, it was 167,500, but by raising the, equipment and supplies, for water, by 2,000, it's actually gonna be a total of 169,500. And then I showed this one balance, this one fund where we go and use to balance the budget. That, we would have to have the same amount put in there so that our budget is completely balanced when we do this. So we'll have a public hearing on this on, Tuesday. Because it's set for public hearing, we have to do a public hearing to amend the budget, but this was just so we went over it ahead of time and we know what this is. And that's why I have this on here. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, is there any more questions on this, or move on to the next item? Nobody? Okay. So the next item, I realized as I was looking at the agenda, I had approached this from the way we've always done conditional use permits in the past, which was conditional use permits got approved by the planning commission or denied, whatever, their recommendation, and then it came to town council, and then we voted on it. And so I put it on the agenda, and then it hit me the other day after the agenda was posted, I was like, wait a minute. We changed the whole conditional use permit process. It does not come to the town council for approval. Once it's approved by the planning commission, it's over, it's done. So they did approve it at their, planning commission meeting, but I just left it on the agenda and said, well, you guys can see that what I did is I applied for us to change the use
It's
of
an
the
FYI.
church. Yes, it's more in FYI, I did the paperwork to get this changed. Okay. Then we have two ordinances. So that came from planning commission, and the next thing on the agenda was the ordinance closing the resort zone. And this they had for their, they voted on this, correct? This was voted on and recommended for approval at this planning commission meeting,
Correct,
yesterday.
yes.
Yes, okay. So I added
Closing resort zone was not voted on yesterday, it was voted on the last meeting on the 25th.
the 25th of September. Okay, so now it's on here for us to review and potentially approve at the meeting. And so, if you guys remember that we had this resort zone, and that the only thing that was ever in the resort zone was the RV park. And then when, years ago, they then closed the resort zone and created the highway resort zone. And so we don't want any more in the resort zone. And for reasons that were never quite clear to me, the last administration opened the resort zone back up. And, I wasn't quite clear why, anyway, they want to go back and say, well, just close the resort zone, what do we need it for? And so,
I think theoretically, I don't know the reason, I'd have to go back and see what their thinking was, but they were maybe thinking resort zone outside of highway.
No, what happened is, I know what happened way back when they first closed the resort zone. There was the RV park, and they didn't want any more RV parks in town.
It was
And so-
created specifically for the RV.
It was
park.
created specifically for the RV park, they didn't want any more RV parks in town, so they then closed the zone and created the highway resort zone to allow all this other resort development with no RV park.
Yeah,
But now that the highway resort zone allows RV parks, it's like, well,
yeah,
and why does the resort zone need, it's redundant. And so they want to go back. and
yeah, it does require funding SR9, so that, yeah, my thought was, doesn't make sense to have both, but. yeah.
So this is for us to vote on Tuesday. I didn't expect to have a whole lot of discussion. This was more to say, this is here and we can discuss this further if we need to. And then,
And the only reason we're just closing it and keeping it is because we do have the RV park in that zone.
and we've got quite a few. You know, we've got quite a few RV parks now.
Yep, are they all under the resort zone versus highway?
Highway, they're all under highway resort, so not a single thing was, there was something that was done, there was a
Do
piece.
we have any piece of property that's in the resort zone?
Was it open when they sold the RV park? And then
Yes.
reclosed, and then it was supposed to be reclosed, is that what it was?
No, well, what happened is, there were the Smiths who had owned the RV park and they sold it to somebody. And then that person has since sold it, now it's owned by Stu Ferber. But this was all done, you're right, it was when that sale was happening from the Smiths to this person.
Something in my mind is coming up with that, and I don't know, because I wasn't on it when they did this, I don't think.
Because my understanding is that the resort, that the RV park will have to check the zoning and we'll check it by Tuesday. But my understanding is they changed the zoning on the RV park to now be highway.
So instead of closing it, why don't we just close it and delete them?
Well,
Delete it from the
there's,
chart.
well,
We deleted the mobile home one, when it was in there, we got rid of, we deleted it.
too,
Because it was
so
under
we could
redundant.
potentially do that.
I mean, why clutter this up with the resort
If you
zone
read
that's a,
the, if you read the location, it's the same as the highway resort zone,
yeah, so.
almost the same.
See, I thought the only reason we were keeping it is because we have a piece of property, the resort, the
Right,
RV
The
park,
RV
the
park.
very old RV park are first.
But I think it was open for a reason, like, I think it had something to do with that. And then it closed. We were
And I'll
supposed to close it.
research it
It's
and
never
get,
closed again.
and I'll research and have the answer for Tuesday.
Yeah,
I can't
so,
remember exactly
so might as well
what it was.
just delete it if we can.
Okay,
Cause that was an yeah. Was that 18?
I don't know,
The locations.
but I could have sworn it got rezoned to highway, but
What,
I
the RV park?
Yeah.
Yes, it did get.
Yeah, and.
Or Matt did it. They
Yeah,
I
rezoned
think the
it.
opening resort zone had something to do with the sale and rezoning that piece of property, wasn't it?
What, opening it?
well, I don't
They
know that
closed
she was,
it, and then they opened it.
but I don't know that she was here with that.
Well, it says 18 on here, and
But she did-
that's when I left.
She started in 2020,
Yeah.
so this was before. her
Yeah.
time.
This was 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
but when
And this
they-
is the interim that I wasn't, had any.
Yeah, but Matt did close it when I was here and they made it
Rezoned that.
rezoned. Yes, they did rezone that into highway resort
So
zone.
yeah, that, it just needs to be.
That
closed.
has been rezoned to highway resort zone.
So I don't believe there's a single thing in town that is in that zone, so now we could, you're right, we could just do
Well,
it.
it is in the zone, but it's a zone overlapping a zone. Cause it says the fronting SR9 or Collab Terrace Road. And east of 295 east or west of
But
700.
if we're not gonna accept applications anymore, let's just delete the zone
Yeah,
altogether.
but it, like you're saying, it's a completely redundant thing because that's the highway resort zone area.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So no
There's
reason
no
to keep
reason
it.
to have
there's no
it.
reason to keep it.
And all these things that are in it are matching.
Yeah,
Highway
So-
resort.
So we'll verify by Tuesday that indeed, that it was rezoned to highway resort, that there's nothing in the town that is zoned resort, we'll make sure of that by Friday's meeting, and then we'll.
But even if you close it, it wouldn't hurt
By
them.
Tuesdays.
If they were in the resort zone, it wouldn't hurt them by us closing it.
No, because
they-
it was closed
They would
before,
be fine.
it was closed before, and they were, so, and it was just closed, and we won't take any more applications. Sort of like what we did with the short.
The only reason to not delete it is if they didn't change it to highway resource. But Crystal's remembering that they did.
Yes, they did.
Well, I know that one of the reasons also about keeping the resort zone, and this had to do with, the loans that the Smiths had when they did the RV park, and they don't even own it anymore, so.
That's what I'm saying, I think it had something to do with that, and then it went away.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we will vote on that then on Tuesday, and we will get and we'll verify everything about the zone and what happened again in 2018. Okay, so the next thing I had was the RAP tax extension, and I had been, when the RAP tax was done way back in the first place, I was on this committee that was meeting down in Washington County, coming up with the whole RAP tax and everything. And so I knew it was expiring. I knew what it was this whole time. And so I was worried. I was like, are they going to try to get this extended? Are they? And then finally this showed up the other day in my email. I was like, yay, thank you. So what they're asking, what they sent us in the email to me was the first cooperative agreement that was done back in, when the 2014 is when this RAP tax was adopted. Sorry, that's okay.
I have a child at home.
And, so they sent us the interlocal agreement that was done in 2014. And now they're sending us the revised, this revised, agreement that for now, that they want to extend this. And what they're also asking is not only to renew and extend the RAP tax for until 2035, yes, through 2035, so they're extending it by 10 years, because it was going to expire next year, 25. They're extending it by 10 years, and what they are asking for is for this item 2 here on the second amendment, this item 2 under the agreement, administrative fee and distribution of RAP tax revenue. They want to take out of the RAP tax revenue that's received, the county wants to take an administrative fee for taking care of everything with regard to the distribution, collection and distribution of the RAP tax. Because at first one, they did not have an administrative fee.
Where's that on here?
It's this one, see this one where it says second amendment?
Oh, second.
The one that says second amendment, it's at page 1.
Okay.
James, 2020, 2021, 49.
What's 2049? Oh, 2020 49. I know, but this is the one that, was not anywhere, was never signed, it was never anywhere. This is when you and I called Keith Snow and said, hey, we have this ordinance. And it's never been signed by Matt, what do we do? And he said that I could go ahead and sign this ordinance and we could, but I've gone back through all the minutes, I cannot find this ordinance anywhere discussed in any minutes in any town council. And so, cause I was going to tell them they didn't need to do this closure of the zone. I can't find any minutes where this was
So
discussed.
they want 1.5%.
That's what you knew what I was looking for.
And then, so they also say, is it going to be on the November ballot?
That's what they're saying here, that the ballots we should be getting in the mail anytime. Then this should be on the ballot, and I heard nothing, because when we did this in 2014, when we did this 10 years ago, we had to do a whole advertising campaign, and the RAP tax barely passed on the ballot.
I'm surprised they would have it on this November ballot unless they paved the way for it way before they.
Well, I can tell you that even ourselves, let me show you on our budget here. The RAP tax revenue that we get. What is our RAP tax revenue on here? Crystal, where is our rap tax revenue?
Onward.
On this, when we look at up in the budget, where? Oh, here it is, okay. We're expecting 15,000, we got $15,000 last year in rap tax, and it's all for recreation, art, and arts. And so we put in our budget this year, we're expecting to get 15,000 again, but it is the rap tax is part of the sales tax that is, and if we have more sales tax that's happening here, we should be, I'm betting we're gonna get more than 15,000 this year in rap tax.
How often do they pay us on that?
Monthly,
Monthly, we get,
Monthly?
yeah,
we get it monthly.
we get a deposit monthly from the county.
So how about our transient and resort tax, does that come,
That comes from the state.
so that doesn't come every month?
No, that, I'm not sure how often they distribute it. We get monthly reports saying, here's how much you got this month, but they don't necessarily deposit it every month.
Yeah, I just noticed our period actual, we don't have any zero on transient and resort tax for this period.
It was correct, and it should be probably the next time, because Becky just told me, she texted me the other day and she said, okay, we now have a deposit into the account for all of this, and so, the next time we see this report, when, at least for the end of October, it should have some numbers there.
Oh, I see, yeah, the rap tax, that's.
Yes, where it says
So
tax,
recreation,
recreation, art, parks, yeah. So anyway, I expect we're going to get more, but I need to sign this interlocal agreement, I need to sign this.
So will
and
the
send
one
it
point 5% just be taken off the top and then it's
Yeah,
delegated out?
And it's based on population.
Based on population.
Based on population,
Okay.
yeah. But our population has been increasing.
but if it's based on what?
I would say it's based on sales tax, but it really is based on population.
Population,
It really is.
but if everybody else is increasing too.
Then theirs is going to.
Yeah,
theirs-
so you only have to spot it and it's.
So we're probably gonna get $15,000 again.
Unless
So,
we're growing faster than
and they
others,
are, and I don't believe that to be the
I
case.
know.
Yeah.
which means we could get less.
So, anyway, so I am going to sign, I need to sign that. The resolution, this interlocal agreement, just so.
So if we didn't sign it, then we wouldn't get anything, I suppose.
Yeah, I know, it's like, what happens if we don't sign it?
Probably wouldn't get it.
Probably won't get anything. So, so I need to sign it, so I just put this on here, I wasn't just gonna sign it and send it without talking to you guys first.
Well, I think it does need to be approved by town council.
So we'll do it on
It's an
Tuesday.
interlocal agreement.
Yeah, so it'll be on
It's
Tuesday.
not an agreement with the mayor, so.
So it,
Yeah.
it goes on Tuesday's bid. There, that's what I'm for, right here. Okay, so then. Crystal said the town planning commission approved the subdivision ordinance, because remember we went over the new subdivision ordinance and we filled in things about what did we want to be the appeal authority, and we sent it to the planning commission for a public hearing. And so Crystal said they passed it at last night's town council meeting. And so we do not have to pass this until December. That was crawling up to your computer. I was debating getting over there and not getting it in my hands, but it flew away. So do you guys want me to put the subdivision ordinance on Tuesday's meeting for us to vote on? Or do you want to put on there just for us to discuss? But it was, did they make any changes or was it just how we sent it?
They made some grammatical changes.
Grammatical
Grammatical
changes?
changes, and then, nothing major, but then I put it, it's in your SharePoint, you guys can see the major changes that they made was deciding who was gonna do the final plat. And that was either DRC or, the engineer,
And this
You
is all
guys
the
had-
changes that I sent them from our meeting.
Either or is what we listed it as.
And what did you think? Were you okay? Did you agree
It's
with those
the
changes?
only changes I put in were the changes we put in,
Uh-huh,
and then one of them was the one we wanted to put in for their interpretation.
Yeah.
and that's the one.
Yeah, and I told, when I sent it to them, I specifically said, these are not a demand, they are a suggestion, do them how you please.
Okay.
And it's, the way I understood, they kept them all. And then they decided that, was it planning commission is gonna do it, or the plan?
It was either DRC or
Town engineer.
town engineer, and they voted for DRC
There we go.
to.
Approve a final plat.
Because the town engineer is,
I'm really surprised that
It's
they
in the
don't.
DRC.
well,
No, he is, yes,
because
that's
the
true.
town engineer is a
Yes.
part of the DRC, so that's why they voted
Yeah, I
for the
remember.
DRC to.
I watched it, it finished.
Well, so because it's kind of an important
Should I put it on for
ordinance,
discussion?
I think I'd like to read it more carefully.
It's quite
long.
fine too.
Then I'm gonna put it on for us to discuss a little bit on Tuesday's meeting, and then we'll put it for a vote at November's
Do
meeting.
you guys want to see all I did was take in the PDF and put green notes of what we wanted. Do you guys want to see that?
There is online, if you guys would want me to have her chat, and you guys
Yeah,
can.
I'm
It's okay.
I think, yeah, I'd agree with April, because it's such a critical one.
Can we look at
I'd
it?
like to spend some more time reading it, because last time we got it quick, we gave our response to go to the planning and zoning, so they could get it back to us.
Yeah.
Let's,
I'll
Let's take
forward
the
you
time.
the email that I
Yeah,
sent.
and they took their time on it too,
Okay.
yeah, so they took their time and listened to Riker,
Yeah.
walk through it too, they did a really good job.
yeah,
Yeah, don't listen to it. They really, I didn't spend a lot of time. They were,
and that way it gives me a time if I wanna listen to what they have to say, I can go back to the video.
Yeah.
I'll send you the thing that we.
So discussion, well, and we can also say
It's not, I
discussion,
right,
Mayor, we can
Yes.
save discussion until the November work session.
Well, that's true.
And
I
then-
think I'll put it on the agenda for
Put it
Tuesday.
up there.
If we don't
Yeah.
talk about it, we don't talk about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
what about the other two ordinances that we had down there?
She said they just had a public hearing last night. They were on for public hearing and they'll be on for vote in November.
Okay,
So they were, and
that's a DRC one and that's.
then the plan commission.
yeah, they will,
Their, policy and procedure, is that?
No,
Oh,
this was the DRC saying that they would publish
Right.
the notice.
yeah,
And the other was the planning commission one was saying that the appointment of the chairman would be subject to town council.
right.
And that's all, they were very small change, very small changes. But they had a public hearing last night, and so they will vote on it in November, and we can have it for a vote in November, okay? Okay. So that leaves,
Well, what about you got appointment of town council member?
that's what I'm at.
Yeah, what about appointment of planning board?
Well, I decided, I actually had someone that I had talked to and was going to be, I had actually prepared the agenda for this and had appointment of planning commission member. Then we got Marcy's letter. And I said, okay, wait, and I took off P and Z number and said, no, we're gonna appoint a town council member first. And then we'll do the planning commission.
So that that
Because,
person has a
because
chance to
it may be that the person I was going to put, may want town council
That makes-
instead. So I decided to just wait and we'll see.
Then that makes sense.
Okay, so, the town council member, we read the state code on, what's involved in how to fill a vacancy on town council. And so there's this whole procedure, it's under the election code now, it used to be under, yes, so it used to be under,
It should be under Title 10 now. it's under-
Title 10, now it's
it's
under
under
28.
Title
Is that what
20.
you sent me? I started
Yes,
reading
that's
that.
what I
Okay.
sent it to you.
So, anyway, we have 30 days from the date the resignation letter is received. And so that means we have to appoint the person by November 7th. So I have looked at the calendar and I would like for us to do, so we're gonna have to do a special town council meeting. And so I would like to do, I propose that we do this special meeting on October 29th. That's, that'll be 2 weeks from Tuesday. So what are your calendars for October 29th?
That, I will not be able to participate because I'm having eye surgery, cataract surgery on the 29th.
On the 29th.
That's a Tuesday, so I can't, yeah. That one will be, and
Anesthetized,
what's that?
I said you'll be in.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal, so if we are getting close here, let's see,
And I know you have to do a 14 day.
we have to do, yes,
Minimum
so-
of 14 days.
right, so what was, so,
And we don't have to. We have to appoint by November 7th, but we can have 2 or 3 meetings before that if we need it. I don't know why.
hopefully not.
It's not.
Yeah, that's like,
I
I
got
don't,
some
I
things
don't know
like that. So the 28th, could you go the day before?
Let me, yeah,
That's a
28th I
Monday.
could do it Monday.
okay, then.
I could do after, I just can't do it that day.
Okay, so if we did it, what about you, Misty, what do you
I'm
want?
looking, my calendar, for some reason, it just keeps opening and leaving not. My calendar.
What's your recovery time? Is it just a few days or?
I'd be wearing glasses,
Yeah.
so I don't know the recovery time, but I guess it's all right, I just can't drive.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't lift weights and have, cleanup duty on the dog, I'm all right, I think.
You know, you get out.
I get out of dog duty for 2 weeks now.
He's like, yes.
So we probably ought to have it before you go. For your.
Yeah, because what happens is if we go into next week,
Yes.
we've got, if we go into next week, and if we don't do it on the week of the 28th, we don't do it the 28th or 29th, we go into the next week, that is election day, and Crystal has election stuff she has to do.
Oh, that's
And we got, and on the 31st, we got Halloween, so.
So we really need to do it on the
The
28th.
28th would be fine.
Okay,
I mean, the problem is if we don't do it, then, make the 30 days with that nasty note from the lieutenant.
Lieutenant Governor.
I've already talked to, Shelley at the Lieutenant
So-
Governor's office,
so
and
I'll-
I'll her last week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell them all that. So, Crystal has already called and talked with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and she talked with the county clerk to see, and, it seemed like they all had the same take on things. But the one thing that the Lieutenant Governor's office told her to do is prepare an application. Oh, here, I'm sorry, I thought I forgot to pass this out. So Crystal has been working on this today. This was at the suggestion of the Lieutenant Governor's office, because apparently they had issues in other towns where they had a vacancy and people wanted to put their name in and they got into disputes. This person did this person was allowed to do that, and she could come up with an application, everybody has to follow that application, that's all there is to it.
I disagree.
Well, this is what the Lieutenant
Let
Governor.
me explain, the statute defines what we can do. The statute also says that the council can create its own procedure consistent with the statute. So saying we gotta comply strictly with what's on here is incorrect.
No,
Now, what they have on here is fine. But
no, this isn't off her, this is off me as the election official of the town. But this is coming from the Lieutenant Governor's office as her suggestion that we come up with a form. This is the form that I have put together.
okay,
This isn't the form that she
so
has.
see, here's what I heard is that we have to follow this.
No,
No.
it's her suggestion to make it easier because
They have
let me
issues in other
explain, has other town issues, and this is what it is, people have sent to say, hey, if you're interested, come and apply. And people have said, well, that has not been a fair game, because somebody sent in a 2-page resume, I didn't know we could do that, so that's not fair game for me. And then it's been an issue, and it can come back.
No, I think having a form and a procedure is the better way to go.
And this is what she's suggested, so I spent many hours looking up several other towns who have had open seats that. Not just in the state of Utah, but outside of the state of Utah, and what their forms and documents look like. With taking several of them, and what looks great for our town, this is the form that I would take up with. It's basically to the point, and I think as we interview, as you guys interview, these are important questions that one needs to be asked, and two, what is appropriate that needs to be on for someone that's applying for this kind of a position.
So this is for you guys to review and see if we have any changes that you want Crystal to make to this. She's gonna, if we're gonna be doing this on Monday, the 28th. Crystal is gonna, even though we've got this 3-day weekend coming up, you're gonna have to get this posted during this 3-day weekend. If, since we're going out on Monday. And so we have to figure this out.
So do we have anybody, so has anybody contacted you to be interested in this position? Nobody, maybe,
Nobody
nobody
is-
even really know.
I don't even know that they know.
Okay.
So I don't think they're aware. So when Crystal sits out, Crystal's gonna prepare like a notice. I want her to prepare some kind of a notice,
Mhm.
you know, that says, here's this, not like we did for planning commission, something completely different. That says notice vacancy on town council, here's, attached is a form, if you're interested, fill out this form, and the deadline is this date. And explaining what the procedure, explaining a little bit that they're gonna come to a meeting, we're having a special meeting, the people have to come, they have to be interviewed at the meeting in public, and then we have a vote.
So that
And
would
we
be-
don't have, I don't think we need to necessarily go into detail on how the vote is, because you gotta really read it to understand how it works. But at least it's so that they know they're gonna be interviewed in public.
Correct.
So that meeting on the 28th would be when we would be interviewing people? So there's kind of a short timeline for people to show interest and fill out. the
But
form.
if we've got to get 14 days, we have to give notice of 14 days,
Right.
and we have to do this in 30 days.
Right,
So it's a short time.
It
is
It's
a
short,
short
just
timeline.
a short time, it
Yes.
doesn't matter.
again.
Or we ignore it, and as Paul said, we get a nasty letter from the lieutenant governor.
I just read this form, I'm all right with it. The only question I have is, because they're filling out as comments, what's that for? Their
If
comments?
you comments or questions that they might wanna ask you. Then I can
If
take
they
that
want
on.
to ask the
What-
town council,
Well, sometimes people wanna have a comment on here, or they have something to say, but they wanna put something on there. I can take that off. You guys,
No, I like it. It's just,
He wants to title it so that it's understood what that
Yeah.
is.
I wasn't sure what comments meant, maybe additional information?
Or any additional
Any
information or
additional
comments you may
information?
have.
You did a great job on
thank you.
it, Crystal, you did great. Yeah, that was the only thing I saw there was if I was signing on it.
I
we
can
would
put,
not know what comments meant.
so what if you put, what if I change that and just put,
Additional information.
comments / any additional information?
That's fine,
That's a good, that's a.
that's fine, just that way, yeah, and let's get this out ASAP.
Do you feel that all the questions that you may have for anybody is on there?
Well,
Well,
I mean, just look over, I mean,
that
not necessary questions, but just a general good feel for somebody. That's kind
this
of.
will give us enough to generate questions when they come in. for the-
Correct.
Correct.
We don't need to have.
Yeah, that's what I'm
More
saying.
likely, we're gonna know. Probably know who most of the people are.
I think we're gonna,
Well-
yeah, I mean, unless there's somebody new to town, we're gonna.
There could,
They're
or
gonna
it could
know.
be somebody that we don't know, but I'm guessing we're gonna know who they
The
are.
whole point of this is, it's fair game for everybody,
Consistent.
everybody's treated equally with.
Consistent, yeah. Yeah. I'm all right with that. I don't think we need to, unless, I'm all right with it.
I think it's fine, yeah. I think it's
So
fine.
that way, I just soon get it put out sooner than later.
Yeah, like.
I like it being treated like a job interview, because it's not like we're not electing them,
Right.
they're actually applying for a job. I like that.
Well, the other thing too is that this person's gotta run
Again,
again, so now we're not
Are
elected
we
to.
saying that they won't submit that 2-page resume? We just want.
Yes, we said at the back, it says no
No
attached.
additional,
We
no,
don't- we
no
don't want
attachments.
residents.
This is,
That's what I thought, yeah.
this is what they are submitting, and this is the only thing that they will.
It just makes it into a fair game, and it does make it like a job, I like that.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to run,
If they choose to.
if they choose to.
Choose to run.
Yeah, they may just wanna fill out the rest until.
But it does change our election, because before we're gonna have two, now we're gonna have three.
No, we're gonna have three this next
Right,
election.
that's what I-
This will have four. This
So we will have 3 seats available for 4-year, and then you will have two
Our seats are all up, so they're gonna have four.
So we'll have 4 seats available, so we'll have a three 4-year seats and 1 2-year seat.
So that they. can stay.
Then it goes back to the regular
Correct.
way.
Yeah,
Then you go again.
Yeah,
and then it's the 4-year term.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
so then you get back on the 2, 3,
Yeah,
2,
yeah,
3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
so.
So the problem I foresee maybe is, are we gonna get 4 interested people to run in June?
Then, well, hopefully whoever, applies for this is willing to run
I would,
in June. You would hope they would be.
I would hope so.
Or it would open their mind to.
So they would have to
development
choose.
or not.
But it's a good, it'd be a good trial too for somebody that wants to come on and
Right.
see what time commitment it involves and.
Yeah. So yeah, are we gonna have 4 people interested in running in June? That is an issue. Okay, so Paul, I know the only thing that's not on here that, oh wait, I wanna find out. Since I was not here at the last work meeting, what happened with the discussion about, a workforce housing task force? I have not heard from you guys what happened at the last work meeting when I was not here. Although I was at the town council meeting, of course, and there was stuff on the work meeting agenda that was on the town council. But the only thing that was, on the work meeting agenda last month, because this is where you ran the meeting on, because I was out of town. And, there was an item on the agenda about the workforce housing task force, but that was not something that was going on to a regular meeting. So did anything happen there? You
I
guys-
think we just talked about it in general.
Just broad,
Okay,
because
Okay, we're.
Okay, because what I want to ask,
Task force.
We talked about kind of who we thought, like what kind of person we thought we might want in there, or that might apply for it, and yeah, it was all very broad.
okay, because I really want to get this workforce housing task
That's why
force.
we,
on the road.
any of us disagreed, we just talked about what it would look like.
Okay, because, you know, the first time we brought it up, you guys were like, well, what are they gonna talk about this? What are they gonna address? And it's, part of me is like, well, we're not there yet. First off, we need to know again, who's gonna be on it. And then they'll decide what, some of the stuff we were talking about in the meeting, I thought, well, that's what a task force would discuss, not us. And wait and see what they come up with, that they would then hand over to us.
yeah, my only concern with that is if you create a task force, you've gotta give them some initial.
Oh, well, sure.
And
And I
so
will-
you have to tell them what deliverables you want.
So I will tell you, I've been over for the past almost 3 weeks, dealing with, cleaning out, helping to clean out one of these independent living villas that's over that affordable, assisted living development called The Haven. That's over behind Pigs Ear. And so The Haven has assisted living units, they've got memory care units, and then they have independent living units. And so I've been over helping to clean out one of these independent living units. And everyone who has come over to help has said, look at this floor plan, this place is great. I said, this, in my mind, is exactly what we need for an affordable housing. It's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, it's really nice size. They have some 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom floor plans, and then the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom floor plans. And everybody has walked in and gone, well, this is perfect. And I'm like, this is what we need for an affordable house. I would love to, so I would like to get their floor plans to say, this is what I'm talking about. This is all you need. And because it's 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. You could see a couple with maybe 2 kids could live in there. The living room was big, the kitchen, it was everything you need. It was perfect. And so, everybody who was come in and helped and looked at it, said, great. I said, what would you think if this was an affordable housing plan? And they're like, well, who needs anything else? And I said, it's actually big for an affordable housing. I can't remember how many square feet it is offhand. I'd have to find the floor plan, but it's so perfect for either 2 roommates or a husband and wife with a kid, or even 2 kids. Assuming people will now let their 2 kids share a bedroom, like we all grew up with, sharing bedrooms. We didn't all have our own bedroom. And, anyway, when I went in that day, I never even thought about it from an affordable housing perspective 3 years ago when I happened to live. But now that I'm figuring it out, affordable housing is an issue, I walked in and went, this is it. And everybody who's walked in has thought the same thing. They're like, this is perfect. And a perfect example. And so, that would be something I would maybe throw out there for some guidance for some affordable, because I know some people think maybe even smaller than what this is, but
So in your guidance, Paul, are you thinking location, type,
What do we want from the task?
like, do we wanna, like, that's what I'm saying. Are you wanting to say to the task force, we want location, we want type of housing, we want, and I don't mean affordable housing versus not, I mean, like, we're talking about what type of housing. And then like, do you want a park in there for that affordable housing area specifically?
So we're bringing the
Those
task force.
criteria you're thinking?
Actually, I'm thinking more, we got a task force that's gonna give us a recommendation for workforce housing. What does that mean?
to me, it means small. Not a big 4 bedroom house, that's not affordable. And to me, it's an initial, it's a.
Do you mean as a concept, not necessarily as detailed, but as
Well,
a
it's
concept?
a concept, but then,
Like, what does the concept mean?
but they're bringing it to us, and what are we gonna do with it? Yeah, I agree.
That's why I say location, you wanna
Probably
tell
lot
them, we want
size.
you to say, what type of
Yeah.
location are you thinking?
But are
What
we
type of
talking
things
about
are there?
rental? Are we talking a place where people can rent? Are we talking about where they buy?
That's what I'm saying with my little list I'm making, is that I think we have to give them Paul's right, we have to give them a direction, and say, we wanna know how big acreage, we wanna know how big house, we want to know, are we renting, are we owning? Or are we renting with options to buy, if you
Yeah.
get in a position where you can, but I don't think that's affordable housing. I think
Right.
affordable housing is renting,
Uh,
it's not
No,
something.
you can make it, you can make it
You
whole.
could, but I think it's more feasible, because we want them to rent so that they can move on if they want to.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
like just to get them to start, or some that can't get a start and they just have to live
Well,
there.
and they can come up with that, because I've seen, not with the workforce housing model, but affordable housing model, where somebody can come in and they work it out, or they buy it, but then, and they earn some appreciation towards that house, but they get that appreciation when they leave, but there's certain criteria that,
Have you seen the ones that also with that, as their income ages, as their
Right.
income grows, they don't just get booted out. They're
right,
like, all right, you're up to this level, now this is where you had have to be. Type
So-
of thing, they
so-
do base it on they base it on
but,
income
but
and
take
size
it,
of family.
take it from us as a town government, what are we gonna do with the information?
Well, I would hope we have a new zone. I would hope that we
Okay,
come up with a
that's,
zone.
so
That's
that's,
why I was saying
That's my main
location.
issue is a
Okay.
zone.
April's suggestion of acreage, you're talking about the type of home,
Mhm.
how we're gonna finance it, like, are they gonna rent or buy? That's the list that needs to be
and
provided.
yeah, how they're gonna make it,
Okay, where did they see it
yeah.
in our area, and then we can be like, oh, that does make sense in that area.
Because, and the reason I say it's, I've had yet another, approach from somebody saying, could we do increased density over here? If we bought this land, do we have increased density or workforce housing? I'm like, we don't even have anything set up for workforce housing. We've gotta have this task force and come up with something, because I'm getting approached by more than one person, with, that wants to do a plan, and we've got no zone.
Yeah, I get kind of leery of people coming in and saying, I wanna put in.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sure, yeah, well, this is why we have to have, this task force is gonna say, and we're gonna put it in place, that if you're gonna come in here and do workforce housing, $5
And
for
define
workforce
what
housing.
housing is and how to keep it.
Yes, and yes,
Workforce.
yes.
Yeah,
And maybe use, and I hate saying this because it sounds awful, but maybe using the workforce housing as some buffer between commercial and non-commercial.
That could be.
Because we always talk about how we want a buffer. And it could generally buffer,
that works as a buffer.
yeah.
And we all know, like, I was talking to my nephew who's 26, and I was talking to him the other day about what issues concern them, and right off the bat, he said, I'm still living at home with my parents because I can't afford to live out. I can't find a place to live, and I can't afford it, and he's like, I'm humiliated that I'm still living at home, but I've got nowhere to go.
They're one of those.
And there's
I know.
educated kids who even educated.
And these- oh, yeah,
kids that are got great jobs, but they're
Yeah.
still in
They
the
literally
area.
have to take another place to live, and that's why I looked at this, it's like, you could have 2 roommates. This place is 2 roommates.
Even if we have a zone that meets all that, my biggest question is, how do you make it for workforce housing?
Or the deed restrictions.
Yeah, I understand all that, but
So
people, we as communities have been trying to get affordable housing since the 80s, and we're going the opposite way due to all these other economic issues. I'm hoping we come up with a way to do that.
There's examples of it.
I just haven't seen it.
Well, isn't, when you go up through Hurricane and come up into that chevron, where that chevron is at the top of the hill, the really old chevron, and there's those houses right across the street. If you look at the white houses with the orange roofs,
Oh,
those
yeah.
are
Okay,
based on income. And those are all affordable homes.
and this is
There's also
all
another one
by
when you come, when you
Telegraph.
turn to go on Telegraph.
Okay.
But then there's also one in the middle of Hurricane after when you start heading up the hill by where, the mortuary is and that family pharmacy, there's also some there
on the
that
left.
are workforce housing. And the subdivision, the way they did that, it is workforce housing. I mean, it is affordable housing, not workforce housing.
Right.
This is on the other side of
Yeah,
my.
but
So you
you
have
say
to ask.
affordable, I'm gonna.
They're
it's
not.
Lower income.
Yes, lower
It's not-
income housing. So you
And
have to go find out how they did
So is that
that.
subsidized by the state?
That's why I don't know. We have to find out. how
That's
they
not
did that.
right, that's not right.
Because
We can use that as a model and then go from there without going
Okay.
through the state. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
get an idea of how the state, how to make it stay.
If you have a zone that's for workforce housing, that's great, but the problem is then finding a builder that's gonna
Well,
wanna
I
come in
agree, I agree, but
and put one in.
But they got some who actually want to if they're willing to.
if they come in and tell us, I want to do workforce housing, and we were discussing the fact that, well, we want to make them do workforce housing. We're not gonna let them build something and then sell it for, market value, it's
What
not.
harm is it to try
Oh, I don't
something
have a problem with that, I just,
and let them go with it?
So can the town purchase it and build it, and the town collect the rent?
That's
another
some other
option.
places.
That's why I'm asking. We need to find out how they're doing it other places. And if it is state subsidized, we don't want to get into that because we're talking a different thing. But if we want to do something, find out how they're locking down the land.
There are
So that we can
nonprofits,
do it.
there are some nonprofits that do,
And that's what the
that
workforce
buy the
housing
land and do this.
Committee
Yeah.
work for.
yeah, and I've
So-
seen those models.
I know one thing we did talk about was the size of this, workforce housing, community.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
5, 7 people.
I was thinking no more than 7, because after that, you're just too big.
It turns into
And then look what happens with us with our 5 on planning commission.
and three's too small.
Three's too small.
Four's not odd.
Yeah, and so that's why I was like, no more than 7. I was thinking, as I had said, I had proposed that we allow like a couple of employers in town be served on it because they know what their employees need.
That's what,
And I felt like that we could have an employer or two who would be able to say, look, my employees need this, my employees need that, they don't want that, they want this, or, you know.
we talked
they
about
would-
diversifying who's on it so that it would make sense.
Yes, and
We
the other
wanted it to
question,
make sense.
the big question you just raised, we're creating workforce housing for our businesses here or workforce housing for businesses in the park.
Oh,
I
to
would
me,
say both.
it's both.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I
what-
just actually got a phone call for a house that's for sale. And a guy wants to buy it. He said, I wanna buy it, I'm not ready to move here with my wife, but for short term, I'm gonna rent it out. Can I rent it? And I said, well, rent it, like a long-term rental? And he goes, well, yeah, of course, I want long-term renters in there.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you can rent it out, like a landlord, of course you can. He goes, well, great, I have employees that need a home.
He said, what?
I have employees that need a home. And I went, oh, go figure.
So it's, I think it's a great, I think we have a great direction and we should do it and go for it.
Okay. All right,
And he has a business,
okay,
bring them.
so, okay. So I will, somehow this is gonna have to get moved on to a regular, off the work meeting and then to a regular agenda, it'll never happen. And I will get it going.
Well, we go to our regular meeting then.
Yes, I'm gonna have to put it on.
This is just the creation of it and then we go in.
And then we assign people, because I was thinking you from town council, go. You don't wanna be on it? Okay, well, you had so much
I have a lot,
concern.
I have a lot of
issues
concern
going
on
on,
that,
maybe you
but
would be on.
I just soon be recipient of the other
Okay.
individual's work.
Let's just.
And then I'll be glad to provide my input
Okay, all right,
and attend the meetings.
okay,
Yeah, I really don't think we need two council people, because then I think it becomes more council driven than business driven.
okay, all right, that's,
I honestly think no council, I think we give them a direction and let them fly with it.
okay,
And
but if there's no council members on it, then who is on it?
we have a liaison,
We're
Well,
gonna,
a council liaison.
like you could be the council liaison.
I think you need to have a member of planning and zoning if they want.
Definitely, I think planning and zoning for sure, you
Yeah.
can have couple of employers. But if we're gonna be coming up with a zone, then you've got maybe two people from planning commission might have to be on it, just because you gotta keep on track with, where we're coming up with a zone. We're
Here's what happens with all of us town councils and us planning and zoning people, like, I'm a liaison, so I only attend the regular meetings for them or the work meeting. I missed last night, I had other commitments, but usually I attend two. So plus our two, plus our two,
you've
so
got
I
this.
attend three, and then you've got community development, and you guys are on the capital improvements, and so and then you've got planning and zoning, that they have two meetings,
Got
sometimes
it, I got
three
it,
meetings.
okay, I got it.
It just
Maybe
spreads
you
them thin.
person do it.
What? They-
So do-
Watch this record like a lot, so they got.
It's nice.
Probably after that 3 hour meeting on Monday for 5.
Yeah, I know, yeah, you're on the fire board as well, so there's those.
Oh, I've got, and I've got some I go to. So, anyway, okay, so I know, Paul, you had asked that I put on here that we finish up
Well,
the thing.
let's make a commitment that we get it done by December so we can have
Okay,
new rules of procedure.
Okay.
I
I can
saw,
do that.
I saw a note by Misty in the September one that said not till January 1st. And I think it's on one of the small paragraphs on it. What was on that stuff for the agenda that's going out? And I said, okay,
What,
let's get this committed.
what
Did you like the work meeting though? It put a little header on the top.
there was something you wanted done by January?
Oh, it was on, she won't put a comment on.
Oh, because we were talking about it, and I think it was when you weren't here or something, and I went right in and just started adding.
You added a
comments.
comment.
There's comments added to a couple of things
Yeah.
that we talked about. and-
We're talking about meeting procedure thing?
Yeah, we added in the work meeting, so
Okay.
you go
So-
look at them, there's a couple of.
So we're
things.
at November, December.
Yeah.
If we make a commitment, we gotta get it done by the December meeting.
That's
It's
fine.
passed at the December, I mean, November,
It starts
December,
That's fine, that's fine.
we're gonna have to spend time on
It
it.
doesn't need to keep being held up, it's just our procedure.
No, all I wanted us to do was to go through it bit at a time, because otherwise I was picturing a whole meeting of just.
Cause they're
I don't
looking really good, I think we can just move
Okay.
on.
It's just because I wasn't
We
here.
have the exact date,
Otherwise,
we can get it done.
Okay,
And
I
that's why
have
we
no
put that on
problem with
there.
us doing that, because I also would like to have the workforce housing task force created and ready to start in January, so if we can have both of these ready to go. And by January, then we enact this and we will create
Keep
a
in
task
mind, we're
force.
starting into a holiday season.
I know.
A commitment to all of us, going all places for holidays.
I'm just putting it on our agenda, okay, that's all. I'm not having extra meetings, I'm just saying I'm gonna put it on the agenda, okay? All right, fine. Anything else? If not,
So we decided Monday, the 28th, 6 o'clock.
I guess we better do it at 6. So Monday
It
the
works better
28th,
for me to
Crystal?
do it later.
Monday the 28th, 6 o'clock. And, is somebody texting you something about? Okay. And then you'll get the notice out, hopefully tomorrow if possible. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow.
And I apologize for my teenager
not
coming
working
out
tomorrow.
earlier.
What teenager?
Me, when I blew up, because I heard that.
We
You have to,
have to do this.
you have to do that,
Don't
I'm like a
tell me what
teenager,
to do.
parent, don't tell me what to do.
So that's the best part of it, is no one said how.
You did a good job on the thing, so, thank you. That's a good one, it's a good.
I do my due diligence.
That's so funny to say a teenager, because my
Well, you
teenagers
gotta remember,
definitely don't tell me what to do.
I'm married to a counselor,
Do you
so,
want me to say your teenage?
And what
She's not
her,
working.
and so she's all about, don't tell me what to do.
well, it's a teenager comes out.
Oh,
She asked.
How old, she always goes, how old did you feel?
How old?
Oh, Misty's gonna do my teenage years, what?
No, her teenage response to her question of what you're doing tomorrow. She's not working.
What's her day off?
I know it is, but she's got a 3-day weekend, and this thing has
I'm
to
gonna
go.
come in on Monday if
She
you
can
want.
do it Monday or Sunday night or in the middle of the night.
Okay, all I want to know
In the
is.
middle of the week. Everybody knows I work.
Although this is important enough that I think if she did it tomorrow, that would be great.
That's my thought.
I mean, this is really one of the exceptions that are.
Lord, I only have like 6 hours more of work here, and then I'll work a couple more hours.
That, you don't have to do that, that's your own choice, I told you that many times.
It's not a half, I still have to do some postings, I have a deadline.
Okay, all right. Okay, so meeting adjourned. Anybody make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.